I was trying to replay back the 25 years of excruciating pain that I went through making this movie. But I knew, because God said to me, Amina will end in glory. And that glory culminated into that night when African Magic now said continentally, Amina is the first, the best movie overall. Because when we made Amina, Nigeria enjoyed it, acknowledged it, and acclaimed it. Then internationally too, Netflix came out by themselves to announce that within 10 days of putting Amina on, Amina went on to be the most streamed film in 90 countries worldwide, moving it up to top 10 globally. The first and only Nigerian movie to have made such a feat to date. So now, nationally, Amina made its own, held its own. Internationally, Amina held its own, competed with all the Hollywood movies and still stood out. Now we were waiting for the last jigsaw puzzle, which is Africa, to come and say that Amina is also the best. And here we were that night, they announced that Amina becomes the first, the best movie for Africa. So nationally, internationally, and continentally, Amina was cool. So I saw all the sufferings, all the pains of waiting, all the years of doing research, 19 years of traveling to all the parts of North, with all the doors closing before me, just to get the authentic story of Amina, fizzle out into something that was huge. And I saw my dream of redefining the way Nollywood should be going, actualized on the screen. Because, if all these three components of the world have said, Amina is the way to go, Amina is good, then we have achieved our aim for making the movie. And that's what was going on in my mind that night. So that's why you heard me shouting about God and saying, praise the Lord. I even forgot my partners, Bank of Industry and the other people who gave me funds. I totally forgot to mention them. Then, of course, there was no time to. If you remember, before 1996, I had made Living in Bondage, 92, Circle of Doom, 93, Naked, a Pretty Serpent, 94, and 95, I made Brotherhood of Darkness, and 96, I made When Flowers Turn Black. Within this period, Nigerians had an industry that God bestowed on us because of this number of films I've made. Suddenly, Nigeria didn't have a cinema, a home video culture. Suddenly, things burst loose, and every youth across Africa had a voice to express themselves, a platform to express themselves. And Africa had a voice to rewrite the negative prejudices the world has always had against us. That was a platform. So, but for that long time, what I noticed was that our quality was not at par with celluloid. Celluloid is the top. And so the world derided us, and that's why they gave us the name Nollywood, nothing near the wood. It's not near the Bollywood and Hollywoods. It's Nolly. But we adopted that name. So, but they were tolerating us. We had good stories. But we didn't have a good technical expressions of our art because of funding and because of equipment, lack of equipment. But we were trying out stories. And we were already colonizing the world with what we were doing. But they derided us, tolerated us. So we needed to begin to consciously make films that will be technically high, that can compete, but that can also tell the stories of Africa by Africans to the world. So I thought that there was going to be enough of this love and comedy and all those things. So I said, there must be a way we could do something to up the game. So that was the year Mrs. Abacha returned from Beijing conference. And they were talking about women empowerment as a theme. So I wrote them to say that I have something that I think they can look at in order so we can partner, in order to empower the girl child and women. And so they responded to me that 96 and said, fine, fair enough, that we can come over so we can discuss it. So we went with my team and we began. They loved the idea. And when Abacha died, and, they changed government, it almost looked like I died. And that was one of the reasons. Yes, because every fund I had put in that movie, in that research, had gone. My hope was that because of the partnership, when we start the project, they will pay. They just wanted me to bring a story. And then, but now that it's gone, all the small money I had for my film projects and other, keeping my household, of course, my child, my first son was about 6 months old then, a new wife, new family, meant that we were going to suffer, and we did. Every door I knocked subsequently closed. Nobody wanted to have anything to do with it. I mean, this is a big budget production, and it remains far ahead of your time. I mean, you're not even talking about 4 million, 2 million to make a film. You're talking about 100 million to put in one film that you don't know where it's going to come from. It's only hope. Cinemas were not existent anymore then. Then suddenly, I left productions. I left film, and in order to sustain my family, I began to do soap operas on TV in order to sustain myself. I did Hope of Rough Edges first. After that, Siberia. After Siberia, Hope Avenue. So while I was doing that, moved into Tava Awards just to, instead of waiting for when I make money to make a film to midwife Nollywood, I started doing this. I started Tava Award to midwife Nollywood for quality. Then, by this same time, the new metros have come to country to begin cinemas again. Remember when new metro came? Then Silverbed also came. They started putting up few cinemas around. Then the ages of this world came through the glass from Stephanie Okereke. Then Tango with Me from Mahmoud Ali Balogun and co began to come back. And then the October 1st letter came and all those things. So Nigeria bounced back to cinema. The Genesis joined, the Film One and Film House and all the other ones started coming. Then suddenly there's a bright future waiting for us because now people can go to cinema. And so at that moment, Nigeria rebased the economy by through Okey Ogunjiofor, the super minister. And then we saw that Nigeria was contributing over close to 3-point-something% to our GDP. So they decided through the World Bank to give us a small grant. So hope came back to me. I said, okay, fine, if they're going to give grant, who knows, I might just write in and get some grant. But by this time, the realities on ground has shown that it wasn't going to be 100 million anymore. So I needed to rejig the story and then put in some more things that will make it competitive. And the budget went up to over $1 million+. It became another problem. How are you going to do this? So we wrote into Project Act, and they gave us something. I mentioned it before, but I don't want to mention those things here. You don't know who can be implicated. But at least we got something that is way, way, way down there. But it was an encouragement to say that a board sat down and read the story, and they said this story can actually unite the North with the South. Because here, producers and crew members from the South is going to go to the North and work with Northern artists to create a common content of the Northern story. It was building a bridge for connectivity. Then Kannywood and Nollywood will become one and then explore a common market. Now you're talking about the empowerment of women and the marketing of our culture to the whole world. It was just what they were looking for to rebrand Nigeria. So they fell for it and said they were going to give me that small money, but prayed that this their coming in will help me get other people involved. And that's what happened. Bank of Industry came in. And I said, I wrote them and they said they can give a loan. And they did. With their loan, we went to Jos and began to try to recreate 16th century set to tell the Amina story. Train young people who could fight on horsebacks as the armies of Zazel and the Gala princes and other things, train them on horsebacks and gave them knives and then did our story. Finished the story in 2017, and then didn't have money for the post-production. We waited for some time before another batch of investors and resources came in because we wanted to get it right. So we're not hurry about rushing into the market. And the interest were mounting in the banks. But somehow what God was giving me, we were paying down on those interests while we're still hoping for more investments to make the production. So to cut it short, by 2019, we finished the production. We finished the post-production and everything in Canada and the US. And then the film, we now began to look for market. We didn't want to take it to cinema directly because if we did, the number has been thrown about there. I'm not too sure that I can trust those numbers. And then the percentage they were also taking became another issue. If I make a film of, say, 1.2 upon $1.5 million, and the grosses say $1.5 million, if you take 70% of that, or even 60%, I'm still nothing. That's the problem. So I couldn't reconcile those. So I was looking for an international platform that can acquire the rights of this movie and pay us someone. It may not be all, because the idea ab initio was to get production, post-production, and distribution right, so that other filmmakers and the investors in the industry will know will know at least what is possible. I remember when we went just to shoot this movie, most of my colleagues said, because of the loan and the budget of the movie, that we can't finish the film. One is that if we finish it, the banks will give us so much trouble that I either commit suicide, or if I don't, I will have to relocate to the village after the movie, because they can't understand where I will sell the movie to make that kind of money back. They were right. That was the vision. That was what the much they can see. But I knew what I planned to do, and I knew what God said to me. I knew the blueprint I had on ground, how the money I thought it would come. So I would follow through to what we had on paper, and prayerfully, a lot of distributors came from America, Germany, and Canada. But they didn't give us guarantees, because initially they felt that this is a new film in Africa, using new artists almost all through, because that's what I do always. For believability, I don't work with, for a new story, I always work with new people that I can train, and I can also make the so that people don't see a notable face and begin to say, this is acting. So having trained all those people and did the film, people are now telling me that they cannot give me guarantee on the film because these guys are not known in Hollywood. I'm not for that. That's your own. So I didn't give any of them the movie. So we waited. 2020. We waited. We had other offers here and there, but the terms were not right. And I told Bank of Industry, I will not. I told my partners. They kept pushing. Take this and let us, now it looks like we're going to lose our money. Let us do this. I said, no, we will get it right. I know the quality of what we've done. And then suddenly, Netflix came, and then the rest, they say, is history. And so the film has been winning awards and making impact globally and locally. So we've been proved right, because God is behind us, and who made it possible for us to get our dreams right. So that's just what happened.